Welcome to Center Ice, the Hockey Alberta podcast, home to all things hockey in our great province. Now, here's your host, Ted Emmett.
Happy New Year and welcome back to the Center Ice podcast, and I guess a little bit of a belated Happy New Year at this point, but this is our first episode of 2021, so it's still a new year in my mind. I'm your host, Ted Emmett. Thanks for tuning in again. Looking forward to a new year of Center Ice and really our first full year at that, heading into episode 6 now. And yeah, you know what? We've said it over and over again, 2020. Obviously not a great year. There's lots of great things to pull from it, but I know we're all happy to get it in the rear view. And 2021, yeah, it's not, we knew it wasn't going to be off to a great start. As of recording this right now, things could change. They could stay the same, but right now, sport and pretty much most of the province still on pause, but lots of glimmers of hope for 2021. So hopefully nothing but great things ahead. Lots of great things ahead in episode 6. We're talking accessibility to hockey, and really it's all about the barriers that need to be broken down in our sport. So we're going to talk to Lisa Longball Vlooswyk, who is the newest board member of the Hockey Alberta Foundation. She's also a Canadian long drive champion. So lots of views there on accessibility to hockey and accessibility to sport from the Hockey Alberta side. And we're also going to talk to Kevin Hodgson from Heroes Hockey, which is an incredible program that's now really across Canada. Right now it's in Calgary and Edmonton as well. And they do a lot of great things, not just to get kids playing hockey, but really surround them with the game and make sure that they pull every life lesson out of the game possible. So really looking forward to both of those. And yeah, let's get to our first guest. Joining us now is the newest board member of the Hockey Alberta Foundation, 8-time Canadian long drive champion Lisa Vlooswyk, better known as Lisa Longball. Lisa, thanks a lot for joining us.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me, and I'm so excited to be part of the Hockey Alberta Foundation board.
And, your bio was pretty long, and I thought instead of me kind of listing it off and all the things you do in sport and outside of sport as well, maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and all the things you do.
Oh, wow. Sure. Absolutely. Well, right now I currently compete in the sport of long drive. So I'm on the compete on the Golf Channel's World Long Drive Tour. And as you mentioned, I'm an 8-time Canadian long drive champion. In addition to competing, I am also a golf journalist. So I write for several publications, including Inside Golf Magazine, where I share golf tips and also talk about great places to travel and golf around the world. I also am a keynote speaker. So I speak at conferences and conventions. I share my main message of drive determines distance. I absolutely believe knowing and being committed to what drives you determines how far you will go, both personally and professionally. I also own my own golf school. So I started a golf school for women. So I run the golf school in Calgary. I've run it in Toronto, and I also run it in the United States in Phoenix and in Orlando. And this year I had to pivot, of course, with the pandemic. So I'll be running them in British Columbia. So absolutely love that. And I'm a corporate and golf entertainer. So I entertain at corporate and charity golf tournaments all across North America.
So quite a bit, you wear quite a few hats. A big ambassador for golf, but sport in general. But with golf being such a big part of your life, I guess the first thing is, what led you to joining the Hockey Alberta Foundation?
Well, actually, my most important hat I wear, or the most important role I have, is I'm a mom. So I'm a mom of a 14-year-old boy, and he plays U15 hockey. And I have seen what a gift hockey has been in his life. And as you mentioned, sport has always been a huge part of my life. I see the benefits of sport. I started off in gymnastics, and I truly credit my background in gymnastics as to why I can hit the ball the length of 3.5 NFL football fields. But I have seen the joy that sport has brought, and now I see it with my son. And so to see how much he loves it, and the camaraderie and all the life lessons he learns from it, I just am truly passionate about sport. But now seeing hockey, and again, I'm not a great hockey player myself, but I saw what it can do for children. So being part of the Hockey Alberta Foundation board, that foundation, their whole mantra is every kid, every community. So I truly want every child in Alberta to experience the joy that my son has had and the lessons that he gets to learn from participating in hockey.
And now you joined the foundation kind of, as you've already alluded to, in some weird times. So, a lot of the events, the things that would normally go on, haven't really happened, but you've probably already seen, a lot of people think there's a lot of money in hockey, so they don't necessarily think how hard it really is to access the game. But how important is that for kids? Because there's so many out there, as you've probably seen and will continue to see, that just can't afford or aren't in the right circumstance to join the game. So how important is it to reach all those kids and make sure too that everyone knows just how difficult it can be to access the game?
It is. I think you're right. I think there is a common misconception that it's, oh, well, that's a sport for quote unquote rich kids. And it's not at all. I think that, you go outside right now to any outdoor rink, especially in the pandemic, you're going to see kids, adults, everyone out there skating, enjoying the fresh air, and playing hockey. The problem is that it's expensive. The fees are expensive for getting into an association potentially, but also just even the equipment, even if you want to go to play outdoors, if you're interested in it. And we have many new Canadians that come that are interested in the sport but don't know enough about it. So there's so many different avenues that we need, that we as the foundation, and I think as people in Alberta, we want to support, because we see the love of the game, and it's an expensive game, and there's more people that need our help than the public thinks. I agree with that.
And on the subject, when you mentioned new Canadians, something that the Hockey Alberta Foundation's been involved with here in Red Deer, I've been lucky enough to be involved with, is the CARE program, the Central Alberta Refugee Effort, where we've gone out, gone on the ice with new Canadians. We've provided the equipment, provided a bit of lessons for them. And honestly, for me personally, it was a bit of a lesson for me too, because I'm not that great at hockey. But, it's really cool to firsthand see those experiences and see what hockey can mean to people who haven't had a chance to be part of it before. So for you personally, what kind of stuff have you seen in sport in general, not even necessarily just with hockey, but do you have any of those examples too, where you can see just how much the game can either change the life of an individual or a group?
Well, just to your point, you look at how much the hockey can truly mean to someone. And when we talk about introducing people to hockey, we don't mean getting them on a road to the NHL. We just want them to enjoy the sport, to get out there to play. So it doesn't mean that we're only interested in these high elite players. We just want people to participate and feel part of the community. For me, I can liken it to golf. I've seen children. I've had the opportunity to be involved in camps where there are children that haven't had the opportunity to ever swing a golf club, hold a golf club in their hand. And when we've had these neat camps where kids get a chance to have, there's donated equipment, and we provide free lessons that the kids to get out there to swing the club. And when you see them strike that ball and hit it like butter the first time and it soars through the air, the smile and grin on their face, they're outdoors, fresh air, sun on their face. To me, that's such great joy. So if we can provide just sport in general to kids, to get them outside, being active, get them off the electronic games, the Xboxes, the PlayStations, get them outside having fun. There's so much to be said for that. Again, whether it be hockey, golf, soccer, swimming, whatever it is, getting kids to be active.
And you made me think of maybe one of my favorite foundation events of the year that we've done every year in conjunction with the golf tournament is the Rinks to Links, which obviously you didn't get to be a part of that this year, but moving forward with the Hockey Alberta Foundation, obviously you're going to be right in your element there, bringing the kids out. They get a bit of a golf lesson and then they go play hockey too. So it's again not just important to get kids involved in hockey, but that multi-sport athlete aspect of it as well is really important. And again, just adds more barriers that obviously you yourself and the foundation are looking to tear down.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, Rinks to Links is perfect because Rinks gives the kids get a chance to get out there, try the game, get some instruction. And then the links portion, as you said, is the golf. And here's the thing about golf, again, another sport that is considered very elitist, but it's funny. My husband is a farm kid from rural Alberta, Indus, Alberta. And when he graduated from university, he was invited to a charity and corporate golf tournament. Well, he didn't golf a lick and he was left out of business opportunities because he didn't. So if we can get kids to learn some of these games, such as hockey, so that they can be part of the community and the excitement. And when Team Canada and at the World Juniors, they can understand where that's all coming from. And then also on the golf side, when they graduate and whatever they become in their future careers, when they get that opportunity to play in a corporate or charity golf outing, to again, build relationships, because golf is about building network and relationships. When you're out there on the course, it's such a great social activity that if we can help these kids get the experience at a young age, it's going to help them so much in their future.
And between golf and sport in general, obviously, a lot of experiences and opportunity for you. Can you talk a little bit about what sport? Obviously, golf is probably the more specific one, but really just what you've gained from sport, both as life experiences and the opportunities that come with it.
Oh, wow. I've been really lucky. So right now in golf is an individual sport, but I've also been involved in team sports. And so I see both sides of it. So I've learned that it's about teamwork, that you play for the name on the front, not the name on the back. I've learned about the importance through sport of hard work, dedication, and that if you put the time in, you will reap the rewards. So I've learned all of these life skills that I can put into my corporate life that I've learned through sport because I participated in sport. And that's why it's so important that we give children the opportunities to get these life lessons. So truly it can impact all areas of their life.
And I think an important thing to remember, when we're talking about hockey as well, that we talk about accessibility of the game, but from your end, like you mentioned, you're not really a hockey player, but through your son, obviously very involved. And I think it's important too and something that we want to always get out there is that it's, you don't have to play hockey to get the benefits out of hockey, right? For me, I'm not really a great hockey player, but I've done a lot of things on the broadcasting side or volunteer with a team. So I think that's part of it too, right? Is whether, it's kids or adults at any age, is getting people involved in the game really any way you can and any way that works for them, because there's a ton of experiences you can get out of any sport without actually playing it, right?
Oh, absolutely. And again, for me, as you mentioned, I'm not a hockey player, but with my son and his team, we can volunteer. There's fundraisers that you can do. One of the cool things that we did with my son's team is we did a fundraiser for at the time called the Sheldon Kennedy Child Advocacy Center, of course, helping children that have experienced abuse in their life. And it was such an amazing experience to have those children be involved. So here, I was involved on the hockey side. I got to be at the games and cheer on my son, but then as a team, to see them all get together and help other children who have experienced that need has been truly rewarding.
And now just a bit of a sidestep before we wrap things up, because it's not too often you get to speak with a long drive champion. I believe you hold the record with, is it just over 350 yards? Something like that.
I was the first woman to ever hit it over 350 yards, 3.5 NFL football fields in competition. So I still hold that record as the Canadian record. It has since been surpassed at the world record, but I was the first woman to ever hit it over that distance, which is exciting. And what's cool is that I'm still competing. So I won my first national title in 2001, and I've won 8 national titles since then. There hasn't been a national championships held every year, but I've continued to compete at the last 20 World Long Drive Championships. Now, I was very disappointed. My best place finish was second. I was second in the world by 3 yards. I lost to a 5-time world champion, Sandra Karlberg, by 3 yards when we hit it over 3 bills there. So that was a tough one. But I'm still chasing that dream of trying to become the world long drive champion. This year, of course, due to the pandemic, the Golf Channel had to suspend our tour first, and then of course the world long drive. So we're hoping in 2021 we can have a full field potentially, and get back at it. So get swinging out there and training, and luckily I'm a born and raised Albertan here, but I can practice all winter long with some of the outdoor heated stalls they have at such as Golf Future in Calgary.
And that's pretty amazing. So congratulations to you on all those accomplishments. I know I'm quite an avid golfer, and I'm lucky on some holes if I can get 350 yards in 2 shots. I think you've probably heard that joke before, and we'll continue to hear it because I think a lot of people can relate with me on that one, but it's pretty amazing. So you really bring that kind of unique perspective into the Hockey Alberta Foundation board, which I think is really cool. And obviously looking forward to the things that you and the board are going to do in the future as we hopefully, move out of this pandemic.
I'm really honored because I'm the first female member on the Hockey Alberta Foundation board. So it's kind of neat to give it that I have a perspective and what I love about Hockey Alberta Foundation, they didn't bring me in. I don't have a strong hockey background. They wanted someone to come into the board that has a great sports background, a great background with kids. I'm also a former elementary school teacher and junior high teacher, but also I do a ton of work in the community with charity and fundraising so that we can help every kid, every community. And so it's neat that the breadth that you're starting to see then, of course, on the foundation board, so that we can have so many people out there using our talents and our resources to, again, raise as much as we can to help all the children be able to participate who would like to.
And I agree. And I think it's really cool to see. And as we see, the sport, in general, not just at Hockey Alberta, but everywhere, kind of move forward. And I think, again, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the board can do. And lastly, I guess, just the little pitch for people who do want to support the Every Kid, Every Community program. And we can even just kind of expand a little more on just what that is and then how people can support it. Because obviously there's the events that come up throughout the year, but really it's also a matter of you can donate pretty much any time to it as well. So just kind of talking about that and where that money goes and the kind of things Every Kid, Every Community supports.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, there's opportunities to donate year round. So at any point, what a really neat thing is that we're looking at is also trying to get associations. Sometimes at the end of the year, they have a couple $100 extra. Often kids will have a pizza party. I know my son's team has done that. Maybe we could talk to, I would love the parents to start thinking about what if as a team, you took that couple $100 and instead of having a pizza party, donate it to the Hockey Alberta Foundation so that other kids can participate. So that money will be used to go to children again, across the province of Alberta to allow them to be able to help pay for some of their fees, to help pay for equipment so that they can participate in programs out there. And again, there was a really neat fundraiser with Major League Socks that the Hockey Alberta Foundation just did, that you could purchase a pair of socks and a certain with neat hockey players. I know I bought Gretzky, Jerome McGinley, Lanny McDonald socks. And again, a percentage of those all went. So there's some great fundraisers where you still get something fun for yourself, but also knowing that you're giving a portion of those proceeds go back to the Hockey Alberta Foundation. So I definitely recommend that people go to Hockey Alberta, check out the foundation link so that they can see all the neat programs and fundraisers we do and any other volunteer opportunities. We are always welcoming volunteers. So if you're someone that would like to be involved in this, we welcome that, or any ideas, or again, any donations. So that would be greatly, greatly appreciated.
Perfect. Well, we're going to let you go again. Really, really appreciate you doing this. And again, just with circumstances, you haven't been able to come into our office yet and meet everyone. So, looking forward to having you here in person and working with you in the future. And again, just looking forward to seeing what you and the board can do moving forward for the Hockey Alberta Foundation and the sport. So again, thanks again. And good luck as we roll into golf season. Hopefully there's something that resembles a season this year for you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Ted. And I'm very excited for 2021. I think it's going to be a great year for everybody.
A big thank you again to Lisa for joining us. A great addition to the Hockey Alberta Foundation board, and really actually a bit of a blast from the past for me, as I grew up living next door to her brother's husband. So I actually met her a long time ago. Haven't really talked to her in a while either, so it was kind of cool to reconnect. And there you go, the power of a podcast, bringing people together once again. And now we're at the midway point of our show, which means, as always, we're going to take a look at what's going on around the province. So here's what you need to know. Although we can agree 2020 wasn't really the best, there are still many bright spots and moments of positivity coming from the hockey community, and those were all captured in Hockey Alberta's 2020 Year in Review, including the induction of 2 new life members in Bob Bartlett and Ann Hayden, a new partnership between the Indigenous Sport Council of Alberta and Hockey Alberta, officials blowing the whistle on racism in hockey, and many more. So make sure you go to hockeyalberta.ca and check out that 2020 Year in Review. Although it has a different look this year, Female Hockey Day is back once again, and it's fueled by Gatorade this time around. The all-virtual Female Hockey Day is a 2-day event this year, running from 9 a.m. till noon on January 30th and 31st. Both days will feature sessions with a variety of topics from a number of speakers, including Sarah Oikawa, apologies if I got her last name wrong there, a senior scientist with Gatorade, Level 5 Hockey Alberta official Lacey Senuk, Olympic gold medalist and former Team Alberta player and coach Carla McLeod, and our own coach mentor Barry Midori will all be speaking, and many, many more. So if you are hearing this in time, head to hockeyalberta.ca and register now. Congratulations are in order for a number of Albertans. First off, a big congratulations to Lorna LeBlanc, who is celebrating 25 years with Grand Prairie Minor Hockey and actually was recently featured in Hockey Alberta's Hockey for Life campaign.
Hockey for Life, Hockey Alberta.
Hi, my name is Lorna LeBlanc, Grand Prairie Minor Hockey Association. I'm the executive director, and I've been here for 25 years now. I'm most proud of one of the programs that we've been running since 2015. The first shift program has been very successful here in Grand Prairie. So those kind of programs where I was working straight with the kids and the coaching staff, and seeing them go from 0 to 60 in 30 days or 4 sessions, so quickly they learn. I've had lots of really good experiences over the years. We've had tournaments, provincials, the initiation one, that's a huge one. It's a lot of work, but man, it's so fun. 4-year-olds. And the very last Saturday, we put them in little team jerseys, and they were having a little game, and then we lined them up and we handed them all medals and announced their names, and they just thought they were in the NHL. They were just, that kind of stuff just is awesome. And the good people that I've met, I've developed so many friends over the years that it's been very rewarding.
Lorna LeBlanc, congratulations on 25 years with Grand Prairie Minor Hockey. Quarter of a century making a difference in the Peace Country. Thank you for all that you've done for me personally as an employee of Hockey Alberta, and also with the support you had in opening our first regional center back in 2005.
Congratulations, Lorna, on 25 years at Grand Prairie Minor Hockey. It's quite the accomplishment. What you've meant to hockey in the Peace Country and across Alberta is immeasurable. So again, congratulations, and wishing you all the best.
Hey Lorna, congratulations on 25 years of service within our hockey system and to our members. I know when I first got up here, you were a big help to me and helped me get the lay of the land and learn the ways, so it's much appreciated. So congrats again on 25 years of service to our members and your dedication within our hockey system.
Hockey for Life. Hockey Alberta.
Some amazing stories so far with that Hockey for Life campaign, and you can see them all on Hockey Alberta's YouTube page if you want to go check them out. Additionally, if you have a Hockey for Life story that you'd like to share, whether it's your own story or the story of someone else that you know, make sure you head to hockeyalberta.ca and find out how you can submit that story. And 2 Team Alberta alumna are headed to the BFL National Women's Team Training Camp, so congratulations to Emberance Moshmeyer and Megan Mickelson. Albertans Brad Kirkwood, James Emery, and Christine Atkins will also be at the camp as members of the coaching and support staff. That camp, which is going on in Calgary, will obviously be closed to the public. And last but not least, congratulations to the 6 Albertans who are among the 14 selected to attend the National Para-Hockey Team Training Camp in Calgary. Cody Dolan, Oren Halbert, Zach Lavin, Zach Savage, Brandon Sisson, and Mika Kovacevic. Again, apologies if I got the name wrong there. Team Canada alumnus Steve Arsenal, along with Ashton Murley, Blair Smook, and Charlie Hassler, will also be part of the camp's coaching and training staff. That's what you need to know. As always, head to hockeyalberta.ca for more information on any of the aforementioned subjects. And now on to our next guest. Joining us is Kevin Hodgson, the Executive Director of Heroes Hockey, a fantastic organization running mentorship-based hockey programs in 12 cities across Canada, including here in Alberta, in Calgary and Edmonton, providing a free place to play for the most vulnerable youth in those communities. So Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me on. I'm looking forward to talking to you more about what we do.
So I gave a brief description off the top, but didn't nearly do Heroes Hockey enough justice. So first off, I guess, can you just tell us a bit more about Heroes Hockey and what the organization does?
Sure. We sort of have 2 different streams of hockey, if you want to say that. Historically, we've always done what we call our Heroes programs, which are making sure that kids who want to play the game, that finances aren't the reason. When I talk about finances, I think we have to really discern what we're talking about. There's a number of kids who, a grant from a great organization like Kids Sport or Flames Even Strength or Every Kid, Every Community through Hockey Alberta, where if they just need a top up, they just need something to close between what the family can afford and what the family can't afford. And it might be because they're in a tough situation in the moment. It might be that it just, the budget kind of got out of whack a little bit for a family. That's not who we're talking about. We're talking about the kids whose families are already making the difficult decision between, do we eat or do we pay for our food or for our rent? Do we clothe our kids or do we meet our other basic needs? So when families are living with that level of financial barriers, sport isn't even on the table for them. It's not even in a consideration. And it's not because the parents don't want the kids to have the opportunity. There's just way, way bigger fish to fry. And so we started out really wanting to make sure that we could address those barriers. And the way we do that is by providing an alternative hockey experience. So it's not just throwing money at the problem, because you can provide all the financial support in the world that you want for a family that's really struggling financially. But if they have no means of transportation, how are they going to get that kid to hockey, for example? A broken stick could be a season ender for a family. And so we wanted to make sure that that wasn't the experience for kids. And so we provide after school programming where the kids are picked up after school. So we provide the transportation. They come to the rink. We feed them when we're there, because we know that a lot of our players are undernourished and food insecurity is a very real issue for them. So we feed them while they're there. They get their hour of ice time, and then we transport them back home. And so they're at the same rink in their community every week. It's really predictable for them, and we provide the equipment. We store it on site. All the coaching is provided. Like, no hero has ever paid a penny to play the game. And that dates back in Alberta to 2006 when we opened our first program in the Forest Lawn area of Calgary. We want to make sure that the programs that we offer are in the communities that need it the absolute most, and remove as many possible barriers to participation as there can be for the kids, and make sure that they have access to sport, and in this case, the game of hockey.
And that's a really great look into the organization. And when we talk about access to the game, it's important to know all of those aspects involved in being able to play the game. I know for Heroes Hockey, it's about more than simply just being able to play the game, though. It's also about instilling all of those life skills and the values that come with it, right?
We have absolutely zero objectives that have to do with on-ice success. We always say if a kid gets to the highest level, it's going to be in spite of us, not because of us. We're not walking into the rink every week with the goal of making sure a kid can make a AAA team or can do this or do whatever. We want to make sure that we are exposing kids to all the great things that hockey has provided for so many of us, which is a sense of belonging to a team, a sense of purpose, a connection to a peer group, a connection to a group of adults who care about them and just want to see them be successful. Really, the simplest way I can put it, and we tell the kids all the time, it absolutely does not matter how many times you fall down, as long as you get back up. And that has real world applications. So we're working with kids who are used to being told no. We're used to working with kids when we take them on university tours. When it's over, they say, this is really great. And that's so exciting for those other kids to get to go there. We have to open up their eyes and say, no, you belong there. And if we can teach them to believe in themselves, if we can teach them to work hard and set goals at the rink, we can carry that over off the ice and make sure that all of those skills that are so transferable on the ice are transferable off the ice. And that's where our success measurements kick in. That's where the stuff that matters to us kick in is we're still a program that is providing kids the first high school graduate in their family, certainly the first college attendee. When you watch a kid who believed that they had no sense of reason to believe why they should have any goals or dreams in their lives, all of a sudden they're going off to university. We've had days where kids have got into med school, law school, and trade programs all on the same day. And every one of those is celebrated with the same level of success, because that kid set that goal at some point somewhere in their experience with us and had adults that were beside them every step of the way, helping them achieve it. And when they get ready to it, our work doesn't stop. We can't just go, great, now you're ready for university, go off and be successful. We provide bursaries to make sure they can be successful. And we provide support and mentorship as well every step of the way. And kind of the cool part is when the kids have gone off and done that, then they come back and they say, it's my turn to give back. And, one of the greatest days of my life was when one of our young people in Calgary kicked me off the ice. He said, you've done enough. And quite frankly, Kevin, you're not that great on the ice. I think I could do a better job. I've been on the ice in Calgary since then. And that's not part of our goal creation, but that's goal fulfillment. That's a kid who said, I was a hero. Now I need to give back to my community. And I'll tell you, there's no better hockey coach out there. Now, you may not be able to put him on a bench next to a U18 AAA coach and by some measure say he's as good a coach, but nobody gets more out of those little kids, and nobody gets them believing that they're capable of more than that young man I spoke of, because he's been there. He's come through. He knows what they need. He knows what works and what doesn't work. And most importantly, he's a role model for them, and he's the guy for them to follow.
And you hit on so many things there too, and the impact of Heroes Hockey, which you've seen firsthand, and just once again really hits home on the importance of making sure everyone can experience the power of sport. So as I understand it with Heroes Hockey, there's really 3 programs. 2 are pretty similar and are based on age, and another one, which I think is incredible, I'll let you talk about. So if you could just explain those 3 types of programming.
So on the hero side, the stuff I was just talking about that's really intended to make sure that finances and social barriers aren't the issue. We have sort of 2 moving streams. We've got Future Stars, which is designed for our kids, kind of grade 4 to grade 7. That's our entry point. That's where we want to hook them and get them excited about the game, but also get them excited about their coaches. And then they move up into what we call All Stars, which is grade 8 and above, and that's for our young people. Once they're in, we want them to stay. We up the ante a little bit on the ice, but we also up the ante off the ice. We say, okay, now it's time to start thinking about what being an independent adult looks like, what it looks like to really set some goals, because whatever your goal is, we'll help you achieve it. You just got to tell us what that is. And so we'll work just as hard as you work. Then a couple of years ago, spring of 2018, I guess it is, so 3 years ago, we discovered that there was a real underserved community that wanted to be playing the game of hockey. And that was young people that were living with physical and cognitive challenges. And I think we sort of, like everybody, we just assumed somebody was doing it. There was no reason to believe that it wasn't happening. But what was happening was there was all these kids living with, cognitive challenges such as autism and Down syndrome and Fragile X and physical disabilities as well, like cerebral palsy and things like that, that wanted to play, but they were stuck behind the glass. And what I mean by that is a lot of them have siblings who don't live with disabilities who were playing the game. And so there was all these kids who were exposed to the game and were there watching their siblings. And this is sort of what we learned from the community is these siblings were going and watching their siblings who don't live with disabilities play the game, and they were being included by the team. There was a medal for them at tournaments, and they were called the super fan and all this kind of stuff. And that was really great in the moment, but on the drive home, it was just a reminder that they would never get to play. And even on our very first equipment fitting day, I had a parent come to me and said, I had run out of stories to tell my child about why we couldn't go in sport check, because she couldn't come up with any more stories for why her child couldn't try an equipment other than there's nowhere for you to play. And what had happened was the game of hockey had totally moved away from these kids with disabilities, but their passion to play was as big as anybody's. And so we said, well, if there's not a place to play, then we have 2 choices. We can either sit with everybody else waiting for somebody else to do it and, quite frankly, complain about the fact no one's doing it, or we can give it a shot. And so we tried a trial program in Calgary in the fall of 2018, had 24 kids on the ice, 23 of whom are still playing with us. It was so successful. We started a second team, Calgary. We started a team in Edmonton. If not for COVID, we'd probably be up to a third team in Calgary, a second team in Edmonton, and probably one in Red Deer, to be quite honest with you. This is a community of kids. No hockey player I've ever met works harder than our superheroes players. When their ice time is over, they are dripping with sweat and the smile is on their face. Our coaches could never put a puck on the ice and the players wouldn't care. They work so hard. But it's absolutely fascinating to watch. Kids get to do something they had been told. Some of them have been told that they didn't belong in the game, but every one of them have been made to feel like it. And to be able to watch those kids play, man, is unbelievable. And to watch the game welcome their families in. I don't know what is more profound, to watch a parent go from having 2 kids to all 3 of their kids now be able to call themselves hockey players, or the parents who have one child who lived with a disability and just assume they'd never be a hockey family, become a hockey family. I still haven't decided which one's more impactful. And the reality is they're both equally, but we have given the game to families. We've given the game to this community and given the game to these kids. And the nice part for us is age and skill don't matter. So we've got 18-year-old kids playing with 8-year-old kids. We've got kids who use assistive devices called K-trainers, which is sort of a metal cage that supports their body weight so that they can play upright, skating alongside a young person with autism with minimal sort of physical barriers to playing, but lots of sensory and emotional ones. And the kids don't care. They're all teammates. They're all there together. And it is the most exceptional thing. And we get to do all the things I think that coaches wish they could do in more mainstream hockey environments. We have one-to-one coach to player. So half of our practice is structured and half is the individual skill that the kid wants to work on. We have the ability for family members to be where they need to be, whether it's on the bench or in the stands or whatever that is. But we aspire to hockey parents who turn their back on the rink. And when I say that, these are families who are used to being co-participants with their kids in their activities. In swimming, a lot of them are walking the pool deck back and forth as the child is swimming lengths. And so in hockey, they never, ever imagined that they'd put their kids on the ice and they'd sit up in the stands. And when we got about 2 months in and we looked up and the parents had all turned their back because now they had a community and people to talk to, and they were having that time-honored parent tradition of drinking Tim Hortons coffee on a Sunday morning in a cold rink. And they weren't worried about their kids because they knew their kids were in good hands with these amazing human beings that we have that volunteer their time to coach them. It was something special. So, those kids, COVID interrupted what their season was supposed to look like. We were supposed to start playing some more games and all that. Kids don't care. They're online every Sunday morning doing virtual skills and these sorts of things. And, for them, just tell me when I get back on the ice, coach, and I'll be there, and they don't miss. It's such a special thing to be a part of, and we're blessed that we'd be able to provide it to the Alberta hockey community.
And yeah, the Superheroes program just really stands out to me. It's already had a huge impact on so many people and has introduced so many more athletes to the game. And as you said, not a lot of programs of this type exist right now, but I know that's starting to change, and there's going to be more and more. And really, that's because of the success of programs like Superheroes. And Heroes Hockey actually is one of the many amazing partners of the Hockey Alberta Foundation. So I had the opportunity to meet you a couple of years ago in Canmore for the Rinks to Links program and really see firsthand what the Heroes program is all about and just how it affects all of these kids that are involved. For those who do also want to experience that and they really want to give back to the game, how can they get involved as a volunteer with Heroes Hockey?
Well, I think there's a couple of ways. I mean, we always say all our programs take is horses and resources, right? So financial partners like Hockey Alberta, and I mean, as soon as the Hockey Alberta Foundation caught wind that we were trying to do the Superheroes thing, there they were, and even before that, we had been doing, on the Heroes side, they had been involved. And that means a lot on a few levels. I mean, quite candidly, our kids are not considered as hockey players sort of under our national model. They don't meet any of the criteria. So by many definitions, they don't belong to the game. And so when a provincial body such as Hockey Alberta says, no, these kids deserve the game and they belong to the game, you can't underestimate what that means for the kids and their families. So that's really profound. But everything we do is volunteer run. We don't pay for any coaches. We don't. So, because that enables us to maximize the number of kids on the ice because we're not spending a bunch of money on other stuff. And what I've always said is, we can teach a good human being to run an ice time. You can't teach a hockey coach who's a bad guy to be more patient and more tolerant with kids who need that. And so what we're really looking for is just good people who understand the power of sport, people who understand that sport can produce great outcomes. And quite frankly, we have volunteers who have learned to skate through our program, and we have volunteers who never step foot on the ice because with 30-some kids on the ice pre-COVID, 30-some kids on the ice together, there's always one who needs to talk about what's going on off the ice, and we need somebody there to take care of them. So we're really able to integrate people and to say, what's the skill set you have? What is it you want to share? And what do you want to do? Really the big piece for us is that our kids really count on seeing the volunteers every week. And so we need people who say, yeah, I can be with you after school every Thursday through the whole hockey season, because that's what the kids need. They need that regular touch point with somebody. Our kids just don't respond really well to people who come when they can. This is not that kind of environment. But everything we need in terms of the people that we need and the way to get started with us is on our website, heroshockey.com. It's all there, and my contact information is there. And as you can tell, I'm happy and love talking about what we do, and be happy to talk with anybody else who wanted to get involved. And our goal is to make sure that more Superheroes opportunities present themselves to people living with disabilities in Alberta, and certainly on the Heroes side too. We can't, this game is just getting more expensive, and there's just more financial barriers. We got to make sure that we're doing everything we can to offset those barriers, and we'll keep doing what we do in those really most impacted neighborhoods in the cities that we've got in Alberta. And the goal is to just make sure that there's no reason not to. There's only lots of reasons why they can.
And of course, if you can't support Heroes Hockey with your time, the funds are always needed. There are lots of grants like the Every Kid, Every Community program that do help keep Heroes Hockey going. But I know support from the public is important as well. So Kevin, if someone wants to donate financially to Heroes Hockey, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, so on the donation side, the same thing on our website. We got a way to donate. And the nice part is we're able to keep dollars in a community. So somebody said, love what you're doing across Canada, but Edmonton's what really matters to me. We can keep every dollar there and really easily account for it. On the volunteer side, I'll kind of, I guess, leave you with this thought. And I say this every time I speak about it. We don't measure our success by wins and losses. Sometimes our kids go years without playing games. So if you're, coaches always go home, I think, and they say to their partner, or they say to their friends or whatever, saying, man, I wish I could have this kid for more than a year. Or man, there's this kid that I can't shake it. This kid has so much potential, but he's going to move up to another age group, or he's going to move to a different, hockey organization next year. I wish I could just coach this kid for like 10 years. And man, if I could just do this, and if I could just do that. This is the world of, if I could just do that. We have kids who come in grade 4 and they stay through high school and on to university. We've got volunteers who have coached kids from when they were 9 years of age that are now as adults together running programs together. We've got volunteers who said, yeah, I know I'm here for them on the ice, but I want to make sure they're ready for their high school graduation. So I'm going to do this and this, plus I'm going to tutor them, plus this is the world of, I wish I could, because we can in this world. And it's incredibly exciting. And, for our volunteers, when they get to see, because really what we're asking them to do is invest their heart and their time. And when you can see what can happen, when you do that, amazing things still happen and amazing things are still possible. Every one of these kids is capable of anything they want to do. They just need to be provided the opportunity. And we're looking for people who understand that.
Well, Kevin, we really appreciate this. Again, just hearing you talk about Heroes Hockey and seeing the enthusiasm and how much it means to you just goes to show why people like you are heroes. And everyone at Heroes Hockey, you really do so much for the game and don't really ask for anything back. The satisfaction of what you guys do is more than enough for you. So it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Again, thank you to you and everyone at Heroes Hockey for everything you do for hockey here in Alberta and across the country.
My pleasure. And you know what? I'll pass your kind words along to our volunteers because they're the real special people. They're the ones that make it work. I just get to talk on their behalf. But thank you very much for your kind words. We're really proud to be part of the hockey community in Alberta and across Canada.
So big thanks again to Kevin from Heroes Hockey, an absolutely fantastic program doing so much great work across the country. Again, for more information there, if you want to get involved, go to heroeshockey.com. That's HEROS hockey.com. And just like that, episode 6 of the Center Ice podcast has come to a close. One more big thank you to our guests Lisa Longball and Kevin Hodgson. And of course, thank you to you for tuning in once again. And of course, can't end an episode without a big shout out to producer Steve. Thank you for all you do for the show as well. I'm Ted Emmett. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Center Ice podcast. For this episode and more, head to hockeyalberta.ca. If there's a topic you'd like covered on an upcoming episode, email info@hockeyalberta.ca.